Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Far From OK podcast, and I am your host, Cody, on the Far From OK podcast. And I am far from okay, as per usual. I hope everybody's doing good. I had a good Thanksgiving out there, and taking a little break since then. Still got the shorts coming. Appreciate all the love, all the subscriptions, all the shares. People going to check out the channel on YouTube at the Far From OK podcast. Trying to move some things around, create a little bit more content, get a little bit more character involved in what we're doing, make it a little more entertaining and still keep it informative. And I hope everybody's doing all right with the holidays, a stressful time of year, and an expensive time of year as well. Hopefully you're not running yourself dry on energy and finances trying to appease everybody around you, but sometimes that's how it goes. We're doing all right here, though. We're just chugging along. Everybody's happy. Everybody's moving in the right direction. So just wanted to welcome you guys back. It's a balmy, cold as shit outside, and I hope that you guys are enjoying the weather from inside a heated building somewhere. So I want to talk a little bit more about local stuff today. I touched on it a little bit during the shorts this week, just trying to spread a little bit of information, both on the governor level and down to the Pittsburgh public school system. We got a lot of problems, and the problems start with the leadership that's in office right now. What we have is the PA lawmakers in 2025 are set to receive a 3.4% raise. Now, that's a third higher than the rest of the country, which is roughly, I believe, 2.6%. And that will make Josh Shapiro at $245,000 a year, the second highest paid governor in the country, second to the governor in New York. Now, the big problem that I start to have with that as soon as I heard that stat and that comparison is that I don't understand what PA comes second to compared to New York at all in anything. We're not second in population. We're not second in any kind of school systems. We're not second to anything. Not to say that New York is doing great, but I see no correlation where Pennsylvania's lawmakers and the governor of PA should be seeing a raise that is one-third higher than the rest of the country on average. And what they've done to make the governor the second highest paid governor in the United States. It's really kind of alarming when you look at what's going on right now, because they put this stuff, obviously these laws or these bills are passed before Shapiro was in office, or as they predate what's happening right now. We have a problem in PA as well with the turnpike system, which has essentially set itself up for an annual raise through the course of like a 10 or a 20 year period. So what happens is no matter what happens financially for the city, state, and government, the pay raises are still allocated no matter what. And for a lot of people, there's a big issue with that because the progress doesn't seem to state that these raises are being rewarded properly. When you have the second highest paid governor in the United States, you would expect that you would be getting something that would make this place one of the more desirable places to be, and it's really middle of the road for most of what it offers. We are a commonwealth, so it's not necessarily that we get taxed to death in big areas. It's generally death by 1,000 cuts. I don't know. It bothers me because they set themselves up to get cushion later on, but they still haven't done anything to prove what exactly they should be paid for. They have a system set up to where they're going to receive an annual increase. Now, at 3.4%, that's adjusted for inflation, which not everybody has a luxury of having. When you're raising your own staff's pay, but the people that put you in office and the people whose taxpayer dollars you use to make the moves that you make aren't receiving that same type of bonus or that same type of love as the economy fluctuates, then there's a big issue there. And some would say that based on that, you could even increase inflation to make sure that you're seeing a higher raise. What's wrong with it, in my opinion, is that they haven't done anything to put money in our pockets, but we put them in office by voting or whatever means, and then they completely stuff their own pockets. Now this is kind of happened around PA as a whole, so it's not anything that Shapiro himself is doing, but there's no tangible, how do I put this? There's no tangible result that they've given so far that allocates that they should have, or even advises that they should have more money. The problem is, as it sits, they're taking money before they're doing the work. Plain and simple. That's what they're doing, and they're claiming that they need more. Well, what they do is they add staff, they add budget issues, they create problems, and then they ask the taxpayer for more money. So I gave you $20 to go do a job, and then you came back without the $20, and the job wasn't done, and now you said you need $40, and then you're going to do the job. Well, I still need to know what happened initially and what you've done with what I've given you so far. And that's kind of where I place them. These people forget that they're public servants and we put them in office. It's amazing that we come from a broken government system in Europe as a cultural people. We ended up here, in essence, looking for a better way and trying to escape unfair taxation due to the government being greedy and the pigs getting fat over there. And when we came here, we set this all up so it wouldn't happen to us again, and now here we are. And in PA, you're losing about 30% of your pay. If you work on the books full time, you're going to lose about 30% of your pay every check. And then you see these people getting raises, and it infuriates you because there's no reason that they deserve these raises. They haven't done anything to prove it yet. The same thing happened on a local level in Pittsburgh. The public school system wanted to have the entire county's property reassessed, and they wanted to raise it so that Pittsburgh public could have more money for their public school systems. Well, the issue that comes up with that is you're putting it on the taxpayer that you mismanaged your funds. And I take big issue with that whenever they're telling me that I have to pay for a school system that my child might not even go to. I could still live in Allegheny County and they're not going to go to a public school system, but you want to take it out of my taxes. That's insane. You're not doing anything correctly. So basically what happened was the Sarah Innamorato, the county executive, she shut it down. She said no, Pittsburgh public couldn't go through with seeking a property tax increase throughout the whole county. But then she turned around and did it herself, and she wanted to hit us at like 45%. Now that would have taken care of like 2.2 million of the budget problem that they have, which is almost 100 million. So it doesn't seem proper that you would come after everybody to have them front more money whenever you once again mismanaged your funds. And they gave themselves raises when they got in office. They added staff and they did all these things to raise the budget, and then they turned around and asked you for more money. And that's a huge issue. And once Innamorato shut them down, and she shut down the Pittsburgh public on their pending arrangement to try and seek more money off of the taxpayer through property taxes, she turned around and did it herself. Now, Pittsburgh public just went under an audit. They found that there's $11 million being spent over about 500 credit cards and 60,000 transactions from 21 to 23. So they found out that a quarter of these transactions on these 500 credit cards that were allocated to the Pittsburgh public, and we're talking, superintendents and school teachers and stuff like that, they were given these credit cards. A quarter of them went to Amazon, and 13,000 out of the 60,000 transactions were for Prime subscriptions. These people were using money on these cards for their own personal benefit, or they were using it against the school policy or the card policy, the card holder policy, I would have to imagine. And just for comparison, I said this the other day, the Pittsburgh public has about 500 cards roughly. The city of Pittsburgh and its employees carry less than 100. So somebody really, really blew the bank on all these cards and gave everybody free reign, and these people were taking them home and paying their bills with them. And that's taxpayer funded, man. These people don't support programs from Shapiro down to Innamorato. They don't support anything that pays money back. They support everything that's nonprofit, and they support programs and yada, 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 blah, 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 but they don't ask for anything in return. This stuff goes away and doesn't come back. So now that they opened up their mouth to try and get everybody to pay more out of their tax, these people are getting audited, and they found out that these people are garbage to begin with. This is after they consolidated schools. I mean, they were trying to get money off of you before they even could prove why they needed it. And then they found out, there's less people in the city now, so you got less kids in the schools. The schools have been consolidated all over the city, so there's less schools to actually have to fund. There's less reason for them to even have the money, and they're still coming at you asking for more because they did it to themselves. This is the same thing you've seen with all of these nonprofit organizations that get started up, and then somebody dead ends it somewhere. They put all the money in their pockets, walk away, and nobody asks any questions. This is what's happening. This is what's happening in PA across the state as a whole. They look out for the people that can't and won't, and I don't have a problem with the can't. I have a problem with the won't. They look out for that, and they take it all off of us. They crack our piggy bank to get money to give to everybody else. They don't touch. They middleman everything. So now you have this going on. Like I said, Shapiro's the second highest paid governor. He's done nothing to warrant that, other than the fact that there was a bill written that would guarantee that there was a pay raise on that side of things. And Pittsburgh Public asking for money. They just got audited, found out they got all kind of money that they spent wrong. Now Inamorado coming at us. She wants more money from the county. She wants everybody to pay higher taxes. She needs audited. Find out what's going on. We know that she added staff. We know they got pay raises. As soon as she got in office, she gave herself more money. She said it would give unions more bargaining room for their employees. If her staff was making more money, does this even begin to sound legitimate? The ideas are broken. The leadership is garbage. And I've said it before, and I'm saying it again right now. It'll be a damn shame if manufacturing comes back to this part of the country through the Trump administration and it's looked over in PA because of the people that lead this part of the state. We have everything set up in these communities that have failed. Monongahela, Braddock, McKeesport, Portview, Glassport, all these areas that are still set up to deliver manufacturing. All they need is kickstart it over and they'll fire right back. And it's going to be a goddamn shame if all of this opportunity comes and passes us over because the leadership here is gonna stick to their guns on being some kind of virtue about being green and being. Let me tell you something real quick. The rest of the world does a lot more damage globally as far as any kind of emissions than the U.S. could ever do. We're so regulated right now, we might as well be zero emission. And these people want to sit here and stand on some kind of virtue, their little soapbox, and point down at you and say, well, we have to do this. No. Opportunity needs to be here. And I'm afraid that with the leadership we have now, opportunity will be kicked out and opportunity will be passed over because it's going to be too much of a battle here. So, looking at that, we've got the right leadership in the White House now. We have the right cabinet coming together. We have everything kind of putting itself in place for this to work out well. But it'll be a damn shame if the local leadership and the state leadership levels fight about this and have us passed over. We could be a booming economy again in Western PA. But they will stop it if they have the opportunity because they don't want people to flourish and be successful on their own. They need government assistance to be a thing that people rely on. They don't want people. It makes no sense for the person who can walk to get up out of the wheelchair and go. They don't need them anymore. This is an idea where people can survive on their own and can flourish. Even people that don't have money to go to college and don't have culture, they struggle in communities that are in poverty, way below the line, and this could spark something for them. When you look at Braddock and how run down some of these places are, all they need is opportunity. People will walk down the hill and they will go get a job right there at the plant. They will walk down the street. They will go get a job right there on the docks. It'll be available to them, and I don't understand how you could fight against that. But we have these people that really like money that are in office right now. Ed Gainey, same thing. And Corey O'Connor is looking like he's going to challenge Ed Gainey, and I don't see how he loses. His dad was very popular in the city of Pennsylvania, or in the city of Pittsburgh. And I see that he's very popular. I like the kid. He's a Democrat, but he's a blue collar Democrat. He's not one of these left wing, I don't want to say extremists because they don't really do anything extreme except for bitch and yell all the time. But he's in the middle. He supports the working class. And I think that he's always had good character about him, and I would support him running against Ed Gainey any day of the week. I mean, the guy, that's another one. He gave himself raises. He chased out development from downtown by using inclusionary zoning. 10% of budgets had to be allocated to providing low-income housing on any rebuilding project. So the developers pulled out of the city. They said, we're not doing this. We can't afford to do it. If you don't understand how contracts work, you're never spending at the end of the contract the same that you had estimated at the beginning. You never know how to allocate what's going to go wrong, what you're going to need to do. This is all things that these people can't afford to develop here if they have to put 10% of their budget towards that. So knowing that, I'm sure that chased out any kind of business. Now, downtown is a ghost town. It's got homeless people running around. The only people, and I've talked to a lot of them, the only people that still work downtown is lawyers, because they're either down there for court or they're doing something else that's in a high rise. That's the only people that still want to work downtown, and they have to. It's not even an issue of if they want to. That's just where they're at. Now, what they wanted to do initially, what they told you they were going to do with some of those buildings downtown that are going vacant now, was they were going to make them high-end condos, and it would bring money and bring economy back to the city. Well, that got pushed out because nobody wants to develop with inclusionary zoning where they're forced to have to do these things that they can't afford to. So that pushed that idea out. So by the time it's all washed down, what you're going to see is homeless and illegal immigrants being pushed into the downtown buildings, and that's been the plan the whole time. They had no plan to make anything right. This is all about hollowing things out and then filling it back with what they want. Hopefully, these people get out of office. Hopefully they get challenged and they get opposed and they get pushed out, and then we can start back. There's nothing about the way this community in Western PA or the state of PA has been working that looks out for the middle class and the working class. That is not how it's designed here. There's an idea that everybody who can't is in it because they can't. But the fact is 80% of the people that can't are just people that won't. So what you lose in that is you lose a lot of money going towards people that are capable and are able and should be, and then you're left scrounging at the bottom of the barrel for the people that actually need the help. It's bad, and it's been bad for a while. This has been where it's gone. Now they're talking about Shapiro probably, possibly being the next in 28 candidate for the Democratic Party. Good. Let the people of PA stand up and say what he actually did for us, and let them put him on notice, because there has been very little that has been given to the working class. Very little that has been given back to the taxpayer through Josh Shapiro. They love to create problems. They love to help you out with them, right? Hillary Clinton was perfect. I mean, you could almost see it happen. She'll set your house on fire, come walking around the other side with a bucket of water. Let me help you out. I'm a great person. No, you're not. So that's kind of what's been going on. I've been paying attention a little more locally. Trump's got his cabinet being set up right now, and that's going to work out how it's going to work out. I like Hegseth. I don't think they should stop with the fight on that. I think he's deserving of the position. I think he's a true patriot and a good person. He represents family, and he represents patriotism and love for country, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's hilarious that Musk and Ramaswamy are going to do this quality control thing with the federal government, because who better to do quality control than people that can't be bought or paid off behind the scenes, right? I mean, it's genius. This is crazy. We didn't think when we talked, years ago about this side eating their own that it would happen this fast, and here we are. I mean, you got Obama now coming out telling everybody that they hate women, so they didn't vote for Kamala. He's condescending to all of his supporters. He's condescending to the people that didn't get out and vote, black Americans, black men. You had Mark Cuban come out and say that Trump only wants weak and non-intelligent women to work around him. And he came out, and Trump's setting up his cabinet with very strong, very independent thinkers that have supported him because he's right, but not because they're loyal to him. The stuff's insane. Obama's starting to lose it. I think if you look at what they have going on, Obama might be the biggest problem the Democratic Party has right now because of the damage that he did to this country and put us in a place where we've had to fight back to get from where he put us. And that's got nothing to do with being racist. It has everything to do with get up off your ass, go get a job, and contribute. And if you don't contribute, then I don't want to hear about it. If you're willing to sit there and take the free stuff, if you're willing to sit there and take the handouts, and you want to suck on government titty all your life, I don't want to hear about it. You don't have a say-so in this argument. This is for the people that put in effort. And what happened over that 8 years was they broke us down. They killed the masculinity. They killed the idea that you could speak out against the weird stuff. They killed the idea that you could speak up against anything because it was bullying. Everybody was, HR heavy throughout any corporate entity in America. It was HR heavy. Couldn't say anything. Couldn't wear it. Couldn't speak it. And then they say that they're the side that want to support freedom. Get out of here, man. So you're watching them crumble. You're watching them crumble because they have no clue exactly how they got here. The biggest problem that the Democratic Party has right now is the inability to look themselves in the mirror and say it was your fault. You did things people were questioning the whole time. You pushed narratives. You fought through things that people hated, and then you called those people wrong for trying to speak out against it. You cost people a lot. You did nothing to help financially in this country. You had absolutely zero input on positivity in the economy in this country. You did everything based on emotion. You did everything based on ideology, which can't sustain an economy. You did everything based on, well, I think this would be nice for these people. And look where it got us. So, this is all... It's insane to watch these people who are paid millions of dollars. They're lawyers. They're highly educated. They're politicians, and they still are in such denial that it was them that put themselves in this position. She was never a good candidate. Your policies were never going to sustain any kind of economy or sustain a country or a body of government. People were never going to be on board with the things you were trying to put into action. You came out of a pandemic that you created, and then the first thing you did was give money to another country. While people were starving, people were struggling, people needed help. You did it to yourselves. And if you can't see that, and you have to call the rest of the world misogynistic and racist, then you still haven't learned a damn thing. And it's going to cost you for a while until they do. It's wild. Don't have a conversation with me about it, man. If you're laughing because I pay for your benefits, or you're laughing because you think it's funny that I think that family is the center of everything, around in this country, or if you think it's funny that men and women are biologically meant for each other, you want to tell me to trust the science, but you totally deny biology. I got nothing for you. If you want to get up and go to work every day, I don't care about any of that. People need to contribute, and that's how this thing gets rolling. There's too many people out here abusing the system, and the system is designed to where it wants to stay full because then it needs more money. These people are making money off of your failure and you falling down every day and staying down and keeping you down with the idea that you have something because it's given to you, because you put in less effort. Now, we got to bring pride back to this working class. We got to make it cool to work. People be able to do things with their hands, learn trades, carpentry, electricians, plumbing, whatever it is. We got to bring that back. And I think it's coming. And there's going to be people that, I would say they'd stand up to it, but they're just going to sit down in a way, and they'll get pushed out of the way. We don't have time for that anymore. The time has come to do the right thing again. We had this theater arts class for the last 4 years, and that's over. Like I said, now we got to work on it on the lower level. And personally, I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. I want somebody in the middle who's legitimately going to look out for the working class, because that's where we need to be. So that's about it, man. I wanted to get a couple things out of there, and awareness needs to be had. I think the big thing that the other side is playing on right now, and the big thing they're accusing voters of, is ignorance. And I don't think it's ignorance if you're properly informed, even if you disagree with them. So there needs to be a level of general knowledge about things that we speak on, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the facts. I'm trying to just see the numbers and follow the timeline. If you do math and the timeline together, you can generally see where everything headed and why it did it. So I'm just here to provide a little bit of information for you guys. You might not have time to watch it on the news, or you might not hear everything. I'm not a weatherman, but I can relay some statistics and information to you a little bit. And I hope you guys are having a good holiday out there. December is a rough month. It's cold as shit. Your bank account is on E, and probably your nerves as well. But, make the best of this, man. It's a good time of year. Everything will be resetting soon. This is the time to buckle down and, I don't know, watch a movie or something. I'm sure the Christmas Story will be on for at least 37 hours a day for the rest of the month, and that'll be enjoyable. So yeah, man, just pay attention. That's my only thing. I don't really care what your opinion is, as long as you pay attention. If you agree or disagree with me, that's fine, as long as you have your facts too, and we can run on that. That's the part that gets me the most, is running into uninformed people with a strong opinion. That's very dangerous. So don't be that guy. You can be informed, and you can sit back and you can wait for an opportunity to speak up, or you can just come to your own conclusion. I would argue that a lot of people that went to the booth and voted for Trump didn't tell everybody they were going to do it. They knew in their head that this is what we needed. So I hope everybody is taking care of themselves, and this has been the Far From Okay podcast, and I have been far from okay, and we are unofficially sponsored by Stewart Pest Control. If you got anything going on, call Stewart Pest Control in the Western PA local, or Pittsburgh area, I should say. Call Stewart Pest Control, and we'll get the bugs that are bugging you. You guys take it easy.